Let's move on to tonight's stories. Inflation rate for the month of November has dropped to 9.3% from 9.5% in October. This has been attributed to a marginal reduction in prices of food items and transportation. Acting Government Statistician Bawadia has been addressing a press conference.
The year-on-year inflation rate for November stood at 9.3%, a marginal reduction from the rate recorded in October. There has been a reported case of a reduction in food prices over the past few weeks, a situation the Minister of Food and Agriculture attributed to several policy interventions by government. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, inflation for the food subgroup recorded a rate of 8.6%, a reduction of 0.3% points as compared to the October rate of 8.9%. Acting Government Statistician Bawadia linked the reduction to a marginal drop in transportation fares.
Food and then transport group, all these recorded dips in the inflation rates. Then for the food group, the specific subgroups that recorded declines in the inflation rate include food products not elsewhere classified. That is, these recorded inflation rates that were lower than what was recorded in October. Then we have mineral water, soft drinks, fruit juice, and vegetable juices.
Meanwhile, at the regional level, 5 regions recorded higher rates than the national average. The Upper West region recorded the highest inflation rate of 11.5%, followed by the Bonahafo and Western regions.
The Upper West, Bonahafo, Western, Ashanti, and Northern recorded inflation rates that were above the national average of 9.3%. Upper West region recorded the highest year-on-year inflation rate of 11.5%, followed by Bonahafo region 10.2%, while Upper East region recorded the lowest year-on-year inflation rate of 7.6% in the month of November 2018. The November 2018 inflation rate of 9.3% is the lowest recorded since January 2013.
Imported items was 11.1% in November 2018, same as the rate recorded in October, whilst locally produced items stood at 8.6% compared to the 8.8% recorded in October 2018.
Now, Chief Executive Officer of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company, Hanan Abdul Wahab, says they have received enough food supply under the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative. He is therefore assuring of enough food supply to offset any shortages or increase in prices in the coming months.
Food security continues to be an essential topic for discussion for most developing nations. It is estimated that Ghana spends close to 10 billion cedis annually on food import. To counter this, the Ministry for Food and Agriculture in 2017 introduced the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative to increase the production of some staples such as rice and maize. Speaking to Joy Business, the Chief Executive Officer of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company, Hanan Abdul Wahab, said the program has led to a bumper harvest this year.
Currently, we are projecting about 450,000 bags of the 50 kilograms of maize. And out of that, the second cycle institutions will consume about 300,000 in 2019. So we'll be having about a balance of 150,000 bags, which is enough for as an emergency or food security component. Rice, we are talking about 1.2 million bags of the 50 kilogram. Soya bean, we're talking about 22,000 bags of the 100 kilograms. So, and when you look at 50% of that will be consumed by the second cycle institutions under the free senior high school. So we have so much grains to feed and also to have as food security as reserves.
The CEO added that his outfit was working to increase the number of warehouses to store excess food.
Currently Buffer Stock has about 32,000 metric tons capacity, existing capacity of warehouses. Then the the Honorable Minister of Food and Agriculture has also handed over some warehouses to us that belongs to a just ended project in the north, the Northern Rural Growth Program, which is also about 8,000 metric tons capacity. Yeah. Then also under the Ministry for Special Initiative, they are constructing 50 of the 1,000 metric tons. MOFA is constructing 30, so in all that is 80 of the 1,000 metric tons unit of the modern warehouses. So currently contractors are working. We should be able to get the first part of about 50 should be ready by January.
Sheila Tamaklu for Joy Business.
In other news tonight, beverage firm Guinness Ghana Breweries Limited will in the coming months relabel to Guinness Ghana PLC. The move follows shareholder approval. The company has also increased its local content when it comes to raw material supply from the current 50 to 70%.
Speaking to Joy Business at the Facts Behind the Figures session, board chair of Guinness Ghana Breweries Limited, Dr. Felix Addo, said the relabeling is in compliance with the New Companies Act.
The New Companies Act is pushing also for those new changes. Okay, so companies which are public limited companies, we have PLC, okay, as their tag, so to speak, their surface. Okay, private companies, we have LTD, as we have currently, and limited by guarantee companies, we have LBG as their surfaces. Okay, that is currently the system administratively set up at the Register of Companies.
The managing director of Guinness Ghana, Gavin Pike, said even though Ghana's business environment has improved, high taxation and the volatility of the cedi against major currencies like the dollar remains a challenge to its operations.
And we've seen, coming reduction in monetary policy rate. We've seen a reduction in inflation. We've seen some volatility around foreign exchange, and hopefully that settles. But broadly, it's in line with government's guidance. And we've seen some GDP growth. And I think I've spoken at length today about the kind of projected growth in our categories being broadly in line with GDP growth. But there are some headwinds, and I've referenced some of those today. Changes in tax, some changes in legislation, which our chairman has spoken to, and the speed and immediacy with which they've been applied means that we have to respond really quickly, and that has created some challenges for us.
Guinness Ghana PLC said it will source 80% of its raw materials locally instead of the current 50%. Gavin Pike believes this new strategy will not just benefit over 100,000 farmers across the country, but will also increase investment opportunities nationwide.
Now, if you think farming is not lucrative, then you should speak to Felix Kamasa, owner of Maflex Trust Ghana Limited. His decision to quit his white-collar job and venture into commercial farming is now paying off. Today, he produces for the local market and exports to the European market as well. His story on today's episode of the Joy Business Van. Chile, ginger, yam, gari being packaged for export. The man behind this business is Felix Kamasa, once a logistics officer for a bank. He started Maflex Trust Ghana Limited 7 years ago, a commercial farm producing foodstuff for the local market and for export. Motivated by stories of people who are successfully operating commercial farms and earning millions from export.
It's not an easy decision, but I look at it, people are doing it across the world, so I also want to start. So how come I resign and then I start? And I share that vision with my wife. She also a teacher, and then she also resigned from there and she joined me. And basically we are doing it together.
Agriculture is the main driving force for Ghana's economy, an important contributor to the country's export earnings. However, its contribution to GDP has slowed. Fewer young people are taking up a gig, and financial institutions are skeptical about lending to agripreneurs. Same challenge Felix faced.
Capital is a big issue we have because as I'm talking to you, the raw material is not our problem, but the equipment to process adding value to the product is one of our challenges. And we try a lot of institutions several times, but things are not easy. You know, most of the banks don't like financing agriculture. Yes.
Despite financial challenges, Felix developed his 20-acre farm at Joje in the Volta region. Now, he cultivates over 100 acres, but he wouldn't leave it at just that. He decided to add value and thus started his export business.
In 2015, I had the opportunity to go to Germany for exhibition. Through that exhibition, I had a lot of contact with export to some of the European markets, UK and Germany and Switzerland. We ship to them chili, yam, ginger. Yeah, we have a big market there.
Felix would, however, face his toughest challenge when the EU banned some vegetables from Ghana because of poor quality standards. Export opportunities were cut short, and that demanded innovation or his business would sink.
In those times, a lot of these people lose their farm. Actually, I remember I have a chili about 10 acres. I can't export it. I have to force and add value to it. Leave it to be red, then we dry it and come with a different product out of it, which is a tedious work because we don't have a dryer. We have to depend on the sun dryer.
Thankfully, the ban has been lifted, but that experience challenged Felix to improve upon quality of his products and take his business to another level. He signed on to not-for-profit organization Invest in Africa's Business Linkage Program, a training and mentorship program for Ghanaian businesses.
They also get a consultant to visit our field to see what we can do together. And the consultant, after he went there, he engaged me to see the plan and the vision I have for the farm. So he also came and then had a lot of discussion with us about our products and help us to put our business plan together. It was great because we were able to employ more people from community. We scope our production.
And as a result of good bookkeeping, they got more funding. Currently, Maflex has created jobs for about 50 people in the value chain, exporting at least between 500 to 800 boxes of farm produce every month. You're watching Business Live. We're taking a short break. When we come back, iPhones, China, trade war. What's the link? We'll find out.
Welcome to Business Live. And a Chinese court has banned the sale and import of most iPhone models in a stunning decision amid the trade war between the United States and China. The ban does not cover the new iPhone XS, iPhone XS Plus, and iPhone XR, which were not yet available when Qualcomm filed a lawsuit against Apple. The phones covered by the ban makes up to 10 to 15% of current iPhone sales in China. Qualcomm claims that Apple violates 2 of its patents in the iPhone 6s, 6s Plus, 7, 7 Plus as well, 8, 8 Plus, and the X as well. So what does all these legal battles mean for Apple, and should we as consumers and an iPhone lover like me be worried. Kobe Sparky is here with all the answers. Thanks so much for joining me, Kobe. And so when this ban was placed on Apple, then Qualcomm came and Apple actually issued a statement and said that, well, we still have our phones in the Chinese market we are selling. Qualcomm came back and said, no, we are going to enforce the law. So what's happening here with Qualcomm and iPhone?
Okay, so Qualcomm had certain patents that they have been able to prove that Apple infringed on.
Right.
And these patents include, image manipulation software and all that. And Apple is saying that the new OS or their new devices are not included because they're running the new OS, which does not infringe on those patents. And as such, that's why they're still selling. But as of 2 hours ago, Qualcomm says, hey, Apple is still selling older iPhones. And Apple claims that, well, those older iPhones can still run the latest OS. And if they run the latest OS, it means that they're not infringing on your patent. This whole thing really is a trade war between China
but
and
Apple
the
is
USA.
actually describing it as a dirty trick on the company as well. Is
Well,
it?
The thing is, like, it goes down to politics.
Right.
It's more like whatever you're doing to China, China is looking for a way to hit back at.
So it's for tat trade kind of war.
Exactly. But then there's also the part where Qualcomm was saying that Apple was leaking information about their chips to Intel, who are their competitors.
Right.
And so because of this, they don't want to deal with Apple anymore. So, well,
So in all this, is it likely to affect the performance and sales of Apple because they're having this battle? And mind you, in 2017, Apple also took Qualcomm to court for some violations, and they placed, I think, $1 trillion on them. And so it's like, okay, you do me, I do you kind of thing. But you're just concerned whether this is going to affect the revenue of Apple.
It will affect the revenue of Apple, considering that if the law places an injunction on you not to sell phones, you can't make that revenue that you are making or that you projected that you are going to make. Imagine if you can't sell, say, the iPhone 6 and the 7 and then the 8 because they're running older software. You have to take them all back and then upgrade them before you bring them back to the market. All that while people who wanted to buy the phones are not going to wait. They're probably going to buy the next thing available. And that's money lost.
I see. I don't know. I'm an Apple lover, but I don't know why they keep getting into trouble. But you mentioned the trade war between the USA and then China as well. And we saw this battle currently ongoing with the Huawei chief financial officer, who is currently been granted bail. And then Trump is actually saying that, okay, we're having some muddy relationship when it comes to China, so I may have to step in. What do you make of how the Chinese and then the US are handling their relation in terms of technology? How are we going? Is it going to play in the coming years?
Well, it all started when Trump also said that he wanted the iPhones to now be manufactured in America because of all these antitrust. They don't trust the Chinese anymore. Certain companies have been banned because they claim that they broke certain sanctions that were placed on certain countries. So imagine, would you pay 10,000 Ghana cedis for an iPhone?
That's a lot.
That's how much an iPhone would cost if it was manufactured in America.
And I would be affected.
You would
but
be
in all
affected.
this, one will ask, why are we even having this conversation at all? Apple, Qualcomm having issues. Me here in Ghana, how is that going to affect me?
It's going to affect you because then if Apple phones, like the prices go up, you are going to have to pay more for it. And then obviously you're going to have to make up for the amount of money that you've lost. So yeah, they would increase prices and then...
I see. We'll see how that plays in the coming weeks. I am an Apple lover. I have my Apple phone right here. And I don't want to see prices going up because I want to buy the next one. But that's how we wrap up tonight on Business Live. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Sandra Isenamap, and I was here with Dawakwa and Kobe Spike. He was here to give us that techie answers that we needed. And for more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com/business for more business updates. Have a great evening. Thanks for watching.